I love you. Show me you love me.
This isn't about love. This is about right now.
A lot of your friends are fooling around. You're just not with it.
How do you know what my friends are doing? And the answer's still no. N-O. Good job. Some really good new responses and interpretations of what we've been talking about. Okay, now I want you to switch seats and switch roles. Deborah, you get to put on the pressure, and Sam, you get to respond to the pressure.
I gotta say no.
Yeah, remember, as long as you're in these seats, you're in role, so you can stretch yourself. Use any of the lines that we've come up with, or make up your own that might work against her pressure lines. Again, this is an opportunity to assume attitudes or a point of view that we may never have had before. And as we were talking about earlier, there are times when someone who has had sex may decide not to do so in a given situation. And there are good reasons some people just plain old don't want to become sexually active yet. So, see what you can come up with for both of you. Give it a shot. Hey, I've already given you some good lines to work with.
Okay. Hit me, baby.
Come on. Everybody's having sex.
Well, good for them. Why don't we try something else?
Great. Go on. I know you really want to do it.
You're right, I do. But I don't think this is the time or place.
You don't think I have a disease or something, do you?
No, I'm not saying you have a disease, and that's not the point. Let's just move on here.
Don't you want to try it and see what it's like with me?
Not yet.
Hey, let's find a private place where we can be alone and get to know each other, huh?
I have a better idea. Let's go get pizza.
That's a better idea?
Yeah. It can give us time to talk.
Well, if we're talking, I love you. Show me you love me.
Hey, baby, I do love you, and that's why I want to take some time.
A lot of your friends are fooling around. You're just obviously not with it.
Hey, I'm as with it as the next guy. I just do it differently. Want to find out?
Good job. Thank you. And thanks for taking the risk and playing those roles in front of all of us. You can go back to your seats now, get back into your own skins, and leave those roles you were doing right here. Let's talk about this process a little bit. First, Deborah, Sam, how did it feel to be in those roles?
Which one?
Either. Well, even though we had, read through possible lines, it was still hard for me to respond quickly to the come-ons. My brain kind of went, And then, I remembered we were saying no, and so I did. And how did that feel? Good. It would still be hard. I mean, it was hard here, and I had the lines given to me, but it was good. It can be difficult knowing how to respond in the moment. There's a lot going on upstairs when we're in these kinds of situations. And that's the point. Why it's so important that we know how we want to respond and why we want to respond that way, and to take the time to practice those possibilities. Sam, would you like to say anything about this experience?
These pickup lines are pretty heavy, and it was kind of odd to come on so strong. And saying no, that's really not what I would want to say to those lines. So to do it, to say no, I really had to switch my thinking to figuring out how to say no. And then, even when you're sure you want to say no, it's still hard to think of comebacks when someone's really laying the pressure on.
Now you know how it feels.
Yeah, I guess so.
And that's wonderful, Sam, that you really took the chance to try on a different point of view. It's not easy to look at a situation that we know from a different vantage point, and you did it well. Thank you. What about the rest of you? Were there any answers that our characters gave that seemed useful to you?
Well, I really liked it when she told him that, when he said something about everybody was doing it. And she said she doubted that. and that it wasn't any reason to jump into it so fast.
Okay. And can you tell us more on why that felt useful?
Well, you know, it was like standing your ground. I like that.
What was it with that let's go get pizza line?
Well, it worked, and I was hungry.
Remember, he was in role, and maybe that's something his character would say in that situation. Why didn't it work for you?
I just don't think a guy would say, let's go eat pizza to this girl that's coming on to him. It just doesn't play.
Is there any way that that line could have been made stronger for you?
Well, I thought it worked when he added so we could talk. That was good.
Come on, it's unrealistic. I can't name one of my friends who would respond to a girl coming on to them like that with let's go eat. She comes on, you're gonna want to go for it. Nah, just don't go.
Yeah, well, look at your friends.
Let's take a step back and remember that we agreed upon having room in here for a variety of opinions and that we could say what we need to say. Alex, you're right in that saying no or let's do something else may not work for everyone in every situation for a variety of reasons. And later on today, we're going to work on how HIV prevention skills are involved when one decides to become sexually active. So, with that said, I'd like to take just a little bit more time to continue practicing saying no thanks or no, not right now, okay?
You know, the thing is, I still don't know how all this fits into real life either. I mean, you're saying no, and the guy keeps on pressuring you. And what are you going to do, you know, if you want to keep the relationship going? It's tough, believe me, I've been there. And he just kept on and on with the pressure.
Yeah, but girl, he was a jerk.
Who was?
You know, that bad hair guy.
Well, Susan, you're bringing up something important in that what we're talking about does happen in our everyday lives. So, without focusing too much on any one person's personal life, can we think of any other ways of responding to this kind of pressure that we all may have felt at some time or another that might work?
Well, from my vast experience of saying no, if he or she doesn't like being told no, then walk.
Amen.
Okay, good. Walking away from the situation is a possibility, one we've talked about. It may be hard, but it is an option. Any other possibilities?
Well, I guess you can keep trying to say no.
Okay, great. Keep saying no. Standing your ground, like Nancy said before. Jennifer, what do you think? Does any of this work for you?
No, none of it, now that you ask.
What about it doesn't work for you?
Well, it just doesn't sound like something I'd say. I mean, once you get to a certain age, I hope, you have a pretty good idea of who you are and what you want for yourself. And you just approach situations differently. You know what I mean?
Are you saying then that you would respond differently if someone were putting pressure on you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Can you share with us what you might say in that situation?
Well, if someone was trying to get me to do something that I didn't want to do, I would just say get lost. Take a hike. I mean, I don't have time for people who won't take me seriously when I say no.
You bring up a really good point. People do handle situations differently at different stages of their lives. So the trick here is for each person to think of how they'd feel comfortable responding to this kind of pressure. These role plays, I hope, are going to give everyone a chance to build skills to stick by their decisions, whatever they may be. And some of you may feel like you need more practice at resisting pressure than others, which is fine. That's also why we're going to give you an opportunity to make up situations that seem more realistic to you.